All right, we're ready to get started. Today is Tuesday, November 4th, 2025. This is the City Council's regular meeting. I'm calling it to order and giving notice to everyone here online and to the City Council that we may vote to go into executive session for consultation with our attorneys, which will not be open to the public, for any item listed on the following agenda. Can we have roll call?
Mayor Daggett.
Here.
Vice Mayor Sweet.
Here.
Councilmember Aslan.
Here.
Councilmember Garcia.
Present.
Councilmember House.
Here.
Councilmember Matthews.
Here.
Councilmember Spence.
Here.
Councilmember Aslan, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
My pleasure. Please stand as able.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The mission of the City of Flagstaff is to protect and enhance the quality of life for all.
Councilmember House.
The Flagstaff City Council humbly acknowledges the ancestral homelands of this area's indigenous nations and original stewards. These lands, still inhabited by Native descendants, border mountains sacred to indigenous peoples. We honor them, their legacies, their traditions, and their continued contributions. We celebrate their past, present, and future generations who will forever know this place as home.
Thank you. Next up is open call to the public, which enables the public to address the council about any item that is not on today's agenda. You're limited to 3 minutes. There is a clock right here that you can see when you're speaking. If you wish to address us during public comment, you'll need to fill out a comment card located at the back of the room and give it to the city clerk. And because whatever you're going to address with us is not on the regular agenda, the scheduled agenda, we aren't able to respond to you, ask questions, answer questions, that sort of thing. So first up, we have Tom Pearson.
Thank you, Mayor Daggett, Vice Mayor Sweet, and council members. Last week, Bill Gates, the billionaire climate activist, announced that he had fundamentally changed his opinion on the best way forward to address climate change. He delivered a 17-page memorandum to participants of the International Climate Change Conference, COP30, in Brazil. The memo proclaimed that he now believed it was time to pivot away from carbon neutrality and towards climate adaptation. Here are a few excerpts from his statement. Although climate change will have serious consequences, particularly for people in the poorest countries, it will not lead to humanity's demise. People will be able to live and thrive in most places on Earth for the foreseeable future. Then he said, this is a chance to refocus on the metric that should count even more than emissions and temperature change, improving lives. And understand, this will let us focus our limited resources on interventions that will have the greatest impact for the most vulnerable people. Finally, he said, I've argued that we should measure success by our impact on human welfare more than our impact on the global temperature. These statements by Mr. Gates must become our clarion call to change course here in Flagstaff and focus our limited resources on the city's two existential threats, wildfire and flooding. We need to look no further than the destruction of the Grand Canyon North Rim by the Dragon Bravo fire, or south to the devastating flooding that obliterated the heart of Globe, to understand the imminent dangers that we face. The time has come for us to display the same forthright courage exhibited by Bill Gates. We desperately need a comprehensive, forward-looking, integrated plan that lays out the goals, strategy, and technologies needed to defeat the dual threats of wildfire and flooding. Thank you.
Thank you. Dennis Givens.
Hello, Mayor Daggett, City Council, City staff, residents of Flagstaff. Thanks for having me. I'm Dennis Givens, co-founder of Justice News and proud member of the Justice League. I'm here today to talk about or give my opinion on City Council's discussions of last week regarding the flock cameras. The flock concerns. People are worried about wrongful arrests due to technological errors, privacy concerns, hacking of personal information from unknown actors, federal agents such as ICE, immigration and customs enforcement, snatching up people and could track people. Artificial intelligence is also a big concern. And then I heard about Flock Nova. What is that? Is that an updated program of Flock where they do facial recognition? I'm just concerned about that. But I also learned about what Flock provides. According to the Coconino County Sheriff, their office is low on staff in one of the largest counties in the United States. There are many people working at our local Taco Bell. There's more people there at the Taco Bell than our Sheriff's Department. Human trafficking, missing persons cases, hit and run, stolen property is a huge concern, as well as other crimes such as drug trafficking. 100,000 United States citizens have died over the last 2 years because of the fentanyl crisis in our country. Let's give a moment to the victims of trafficking, the ones wearing the real chains. Coconino County Attorney Armand Barker states flock cameras can use to help with murder and missing Indigenous women cases. The tribal police want more help in one of the largest reservations in the United States. He thinks we also should have checks and balances to hold government accountable from overreach. Police Chief Sean Connolly wants to take an agnostic and nonpartisan approach in his policing. He called it the people's policy. He's willing to stop sharing with federal and in-state agencies. He will stop contracts with Flock immediately if any reported misuse. He talked about accountability, holding each other accountable. That's each other accountable. Myself, if I say something wrong, hold me accountable. If we do something wrong, the police, anyone, let's hold each other accountable. And also, I talked to CJ Perry. We should bolster cybersecurity. He says it's pretty tight, but maybe it could be tighter. No matter what the council votes, I think it's 4-3 in favor of keeping the contract with Flock. Hopefully, we have excellent checks and balances protecting our personal information and data. Follow the Constitution of the United States, a living document. The Bill of Rights, there are things in there that we could use to guide us. And also check big tech. Let's pass new laws and create new laws that protect our data, punish those who steal our information. We can coexist with technology for the benefits and stop the misuses. I'm praying for everybody.
Thank you. Nadine Hart.
Good afternoon, council members. I'm here to talk about community safety and what is shocking to me with the lack of response to, we have dangerous intersections. People in the community reach out to each and every one of you, but yet nothing changes. I came to you with my story of getting knocked off a bike, and I still have residual effects because of that. And that intersection has not been changed. We talk about the opportunity to have flock cameras, and I'm very disappointed in each and every one of you that even has to vacillate for 1 minute for the safety of our community and our children. It's not about the Fourth Amendment right. We have to protect those individuals. What about the rights of our police officers or first responders? Are their lives, is their safety not as valuable as this Fourth Amendment right? A human life should always trump these interesting conversations that I keep hearing coming to meetings. Garcia, you said in the paper that you have to vote with the people who contact you. I've been to Sunnyside. I've been to Southside. They want flock cameras. The people that are telling you opposite of this are the very few people that have the time on their hands to send an email. When I talk to people and ask them, why aren't you reaching out to city council? They're busy working. Their voices are not being heard. I do not understand how a device reading a license plate that can save a child's life, that it has saved children's lives, don't impact you and you even have to discuss it. It makes me wonder, are you doing this because you're worried about keeping your seat warm for the next election? Are you worried about that popular vote? Or do you actually care about people's property? What about the children walking in those crosswalks? The 180 is very dangerous. Crossing Old Route 66. Where are the cameras keeping them safe? My son has to walk across that all the time, and he's like, Mom, what's gonna happen? People don't stop. Wouldn't it be nice if somebody got injured to have that license plate and be able to intervene as soon as possible? There was a young girl that was kept in a cage recently. Of course, TikTok is dangerous. She just wanted to be adopted. Had there been a camera when she got off that bus to follow that plate, had there been a camera to follow that vehicle, maybe she wouldn't have had to be sexually assaulted repeatedly at 13. It's about safety, not about being watched. There are cameras everywhere. There's cameras on your phone. Unless people are taping them off and completely going off grid without any technology, it's ridiculous. We're picking and choosing. Stop listening to attention-based citizens and protect your citizens.
Colleen Maring.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. I'm Colleen Maring, Chief People Officer at Northern Arizona Healthcare. And this week, we are so excited to announce that our nurse residency program has earned accreditation from the American Nurses Credentialing Center as part of its Practice Transition Accreditation Program, long name, PTAP. We're pleased to share this progress as part of our Strategic Imperative 1.0, putting our people and community first, as it will help us recruit the highest caliber nursing graduates and further grow our nursing workforce pipeline. The program run by ANCC looks at residency programs that health systems offer to new nurses. These programs are designed to help nurses start their career as new grads, having completed school and passed all licensing exams, but not yet having gained significant practical independent experience. Although a residency is not required in the United States for a nurse to practice independently, like it is for a physician who graduates medical school and then has to go to residency, at NIH we do require all new nurses to complete a residency before becoming independent in practice in our health system. Nurse residents get additional hands-on training, they get specialized orientation and classroom connection opportunities, they get to build a network of peers and mentors to support them through their first year on the job and beyond. And the program's really been an incredible tool for us to retain nurses in their first and after their first year of work. One of my favorite graduates of our nurse residency program, it's not new, is Tiffany Lorano, our Chief Nursing Officer, who was attracted to Flagstaff 25 years ago to become a member of our nurse residency program. But the achievement of accreditation now means that this distinction that what we always knew, this great nurse residency program, has achieved this national distinction, having been independently validated to meet these national standards of excellence. And it tells both nurses and employers that we run a comprehensive, well-supported transition to practice program. So we're able to stand out to nurses throughout the country looking for jobs in places where the culture is supportive and fosters continued education and learning. And many nursing schools actually specifically tell their graduates, look for these programs. Look for an accredited nursing program because we know you've done a lot in school, but you haven't gotten to take care of patients on your own yet. And this is a way they are paid, unlike physician residents, they get paid just as much as a fully independent nurse, and they have a preceptor working there with them, helping them learn to transition to practice independently. So we're already doing a great job of recruiting nurses and retaining them, but this is one more edge and attraction point to Northern Arizona Healthcare and to the city of Flagstaff to bring more skilled nurses to our community. We are really proud of our NIH education program. We spent 8 years gaining this residency accreditation. And thank you for hearing us out every meeting. Take care.
Dapper Dre.
Howdy, everybody. Good to see everyone. Hope some of you got to make it out on Friday. It was Halloween Friday, so that's always a fun one. They did the Halloween harvest. I believe we have Santa come to town sometime mid-December, and then the big one everyone super loves, New Year's Eve, which I mentioned all those because what are those? Street closures. How do we make street closures easier? I think there's kind of three things that I generally think about, which is safety, strategy, and urgency. Clearly, we all want safety. That's what I hear at every single traffic meeting, every single intersection meeting, anything about streets. It's safety first. But then we have strategy, right? Do we have to close down the streets all the time? No, but are there certain times that it makes sense? Very much so. Halloween harvest being one of them, New Year's Eve for sure. But what do? We hire out Quail Construction for $1,300, and it's my opinion that it's not their responsibility to have those streets closed and safe. It's the city's. Quail doesn't pay for their maintenance, doesn't pay for their installation, doesn't own the streets, and yet the city does, and it should be the responsibility of the city to keep its citizens safe, again, at strategic times, particularly when everybody wants to be downtown, which is a good thing, which foot traffic builds business, and most importantly, above all things, it builds community. When you went down to the First Friday Art Walk, that had street closure. When you go to Halloween Harvest, when you come to New Year's Eve, what are you celebrating? You're celebrating community. And how do you make that easier? Bollards are the way. The street closures that they put up that are road closed signs are just glorified cones. If a car wanted to go through them, it would go through them. There's something called a barricade, and then there's infrastructure. Bollards are infrastructure. And if we have safety, we have strategy, and we have urgency, I think a great, hilarious example is this boulder that ended up on this west side entrance just out these streets when you're gonna go to get to your cars this evening. Urgency, right? Is that to code? Probably not. Is it ADA? Probably not. Is it to engineering standards? I'm not an engineer, couldn't tell you, but I would imagine that pulling a boulder because you thought it was safe or you thought it was strategic isn't necessarily living up to the engineering standards that I know we should all go with. So if you could look into engineering standards for some bollards so that we don't have to be human bollards when Quail Construction forgets to set up bollards on First Friday at October. I've been a human traffic cone. Pretty painful, not that fun. I don't like to be a human bollard. It would be a lot easier if you folks would see the need and the investment in community, in safety of bollards to close down Aspen Street a little bit more often, because what does that build? Community. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, we're moving down to proclamations, and we have a proclamation for Native American Heritage Month. So everyone who is here for this proclamation, please join us down here in council. Please join me. So we'll take a photo after this, and then if someone from the group would like to speak, say a few words, you are welcome. The United States of America was founded on the cognizance that all of us are created equal and deserve equal treatment, equal dignity, and equal opportunity. However, the promise of our nation has been denied to Indigenous people who have lived on this land since time immemorial. Despite a painful history made clear by unjust federal policies of assimilation and termination, Indigenous peoples have persevered and claimed resiliency. During this month, the City of Flagstaff celebrates the myriads of contributions of Indigenous peoples, past and present, honor the influence they have had on the advancement of our community and nation, and recommit ourselves to upholding trust and responsibilities, strengthening our relationships, and advancing Native self-determination. Approximately 12% of the citizens of Flagstaff are members of Indigenous nations, in addition to the 14 local nations who hold this land and bordering mountains as sacred. Northern Arizona University and Coconino Community College serve students who are representative of over 100 Indigenous nations. Flagstaff Unified School District has an Indigenous student population of 25%. We also include contributions of the non-human relatives, the animals, those who fly, swim, and the standing green nation of trees and plants. We must take this time to honor Indigenous veterans and service members who selflessly continue to serve in our military, including the brave Indigenous code talkers in World War I and World War II. For over 2 centuries, Indigenous peoples have defended our country during every major conflict and continue to serve at a higher rate than any other ethnic group in the nation because their roots are deeply entrenched in this land. The Flagstaff City Council established the Indigenous Commission to advise the City Council on issues and methods in promoting diversity, equity, and inclusive planning with Indigenous perspectives within the City of Flagstaff. The Indigenous Commission supports the designation of the month of November 2025 as Native American Heritage Month, in unison with all local, Indigenous, state, and national observances. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Becky Daggett, Mayor of the City of Flagstaff, Arizona, do hereby proclaim November 2025 as Native American Heritage Month, and encourage our community to learn about and appreciate the history, heritage, and contributions of Native Americans as Indigenous peoples of this great land.
Good afternoon. My name is Rose Tohi. I am the Indigenous Affairs Administrator here at the City of Flagstaff. My commissioners, our Indigenous commissioners, are back here with other family and friends and our leaders. Thank you for being here to be with us today. And one of our commissioners just came in too, since she's been trying to get here from work. So I appreciate it, Commissioner Francis. You
came all this way.
Yeah. Do you want to retake the picture? Okay, good. That's okay, just go ahead. All right. So right now, what I'm working on is hopefully to have a speaker for a lunch and learn later in the month. We are also want to invite you to other places around the city for Native American Heritage Month, and that is this Friday. NAU is having a fall stew fest from 12 to 2, so you are invited to go there. And then also on the 12th, there's the Indigenous Ambassador Showcase. So just contact NAU for that. Of course, Coconino County has their own as well. On Wednesday, they're going to show a video called True Crime Arizona, The Forgotten. And that will be, these are all lunchtime, 12 to 1 presentations. Thursday, the 13th will be former Representative Jamesita Pashlagai. And then they're going to have also the Arts and Crafts Bazaar. And then Senator Hatali will speak on the 18th. And then one of their employees will speak on the 20th, Shirley Watkins. And then another video on the 26th, Urban Res. So keep And as soon as I get my stuff together, it'll be a lunch and learn 12 to 1, and it'll be online, so you'll get that. And you can always see Facebook, city Facebook, or other areas to find all the information as well. Thank you.
We're good.
She doesn't want a picture. All right. We'll go back up this way. I'll follow you.
All right, next up, we have council liaison reports, and I will start with Councilmember Matthews.
I have nothing to report.
Councilmember Garcia,
Nothing today.
Councilmember Aslan,
You guys were too brief. I'm trying to catch up here. Actually, can you come back to me while I pull up?
Vice Mayor.
All right, thank you. I wasn't sure if I should do this at To From, but I am on MetroPlan and Mountain Line, so I decided to do it here. MetroPlan has partnered with Mountain Line, DBA, and F-Cube to bring Strong Towns for a community discussion next Thursday, 7 p.m. at Trinity Heights. The presentation will talk about how we develop, both from a land use and transportation perspective, to best meet community goals, and it's open to the public. I hope to see you all there. And I am vice chair of NACOG, and I was asked today the status of our local Head Start facilities. I don't know if you've been watching in the news, but some are struggling a little bit with the shutdown. And I was able to get an update from Chris Fetzer. So locally, we have not been impacted by the shutdown and have been able to routinely draw our funds. And we remain in operation to this day without disruption. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilmember House.
Nothing for me today, thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Spence.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to report on a liaison that's been going on since I was elected to council. I've been in conversations with historic preservation and beautification, and I challenge people to check out the restored log wheel at the visitor center. It's that beautifully restored antique log wheel as part of our logging history in Flagstaff. There's a brass plaque, and if you read the words carefully, you will not understand how the loggers used that wheel so successfully. There's one word that needs to be changed, and I'm happy to report that those agencies are working to correct the mistake. So take the time to go look at that plaque, and the mistaken word is axle. It should be tongue. So if you make that word substitution, you'll know how the wheel actually worked. So it's a work in progress. Thank you.
Councilmember Aslan.
Sure, I have 3 liaison reports this month. One of them is from tourism. Just a standard set of updates from commission members and from Discover Flagstaff team members. And a very long conversation with Chris Rohde of Flagstaff City about the minimum wage report and an update on how all of that is going. There was also a meeting with sustainability. I missed that meeting because we had a joint meeting, a special meeting with our water commission at the same time. But I can report through their agenda that they had a regional plan update, and they were introduced to the virtual purchase power agreement, intergovernmental agreement. I also had a CPWAC meeting, Coconino Plateau Water Advisory Council meeting. More water stuff we talked about. We elected a new board member. The new mayor of Page is now a member of the board of the CPWAC. And our big report this week was a presentation from ADWR about in-state water transfers. So if you want to get in the weeds on that, be sure to look up that presentation on the CPWAC website.
Thank you. I have just one brief update, and that is I serve on the ECONA, which is the Economic Collaborative of Northern Arizona Board, Advisory Board, and I'm on a subcommittee that is reviewing and proposing changes to our bylaws. So it's pretty exciting, too. All right, let's move down to consent agenda. All matters under consent agenda are considered by the City Council to be routine unless a member of the City Council expresses a desire at the meeting to remove an item from the consent agenda for discussion. The agenda will be enacted by one motion approving the recommendations listed on the agenda. Unless otherwise indicated, expenditures approved by council are budgeted items. And I want to say that any member of the public may also submit a comment card if they would like to ask a question or make a statement about any item that is on the consent agenda. I believe Councilmember House has an item she would like to pull.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. If we can pull item 7C.
Any other items? So I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items 7A, B, D, those three.
Mayor, I make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. So item C, Councilmember House.
Thank you. I wanted to give the housing team an opportunity to come down before I start on this. So I reached out after reading through this item because I think it's an important one to draw attention to for our community, particularly as we're doing so many things to try and advance our 10-year housing plan and the housing emergency that was declared within the city. And so I wanted to give an opportunity to talk through this particular instance of providing more housing across the housing continuum. So the first question I had for you, thank you for coming down, was if you could just clarify the status of the Elkwood Apartments development and where it stands right now with the approval of this loan.
Sure. Mayor, Councilmember House, thank you for the question. This is my name is Jennifer Michelson. I'm the Housing Planning Manager. This is the first loan we are awarding under this program, so I'm grateful for this chance to kind of talk a little bit more about it. And the awardee, Wexford Developments, we are recommending they receive this $528,000 award for their inclusion of 10% affordable units in their otherwise market rate multifamily project called Elkwood. They have been under construction. Well, I should start. They were granted a rezoning approval, I think in 2020, 5 years ago, where they've set forth their plans to build this project. They definitely encountered numerous delays over the last 5 years, as a lot of people have. They've made lots of progress in the last year on their construction, as everybody can see. I should tell everybody where this is at. We're talking about the apartment buildings that can be seen sort of on the mesa on that northeast corner of Butler and 4th Street, kind of neighboring, adjoining the Sanawa School. So their apartments are, I have information as of today from the builder. They couldn't be on the call today, but I do have pretty current information that they are going to have 2 apartment buildings online in December, so in a month. And another apartment building should be ready for certificate of occupancy by February 2026. And the last apartment building, along with the retail component at the bottom, closer to the intersection, That should be receiving certificate of occupancy in April 2026. So, yeah, as long as all their construction goes forward as planned, that's the timeline we're working with. As for the loan here, I believe we'd be able to close as soon as documents are executed. I don't think we have to wait for something to happen in order for them to close on this loan. Just needs council approval.
Thank you. Can you share a little bit more about I read in the description on this item that they are extending the period of guaranteed affordability. Can you just clarify and explain what that extension looks like?
Sure. Yeah, it was, they originally agreed to provide 10% of their units as affordable in their development agreement that council approved in 2020. That timeframe was a 30-year commitment at the time. So we knew as staff they were going to go offer these units for the 30 years. After we created this bond program, we have this $5 million bond program that we launched, which they applied for. They were eligible to apply. And one of the sort of incentives we built into the program was that if you exceed that 30-year affordability timeframe, your loan is forgiven on a pro rata basis until year 50. So at year 50, 50 years of compliance with the affordability provisions, they do not need to pay us back. It's forgiven. So we get 50 years of affordable units out of this one development. So I was glad they didn't have to take that. They opted to. Like I said, the program was sort of designed to incentivize that extended commitment of affordability. So we were glad they took it.
I appreciate you expounding on that a little bit, particularly because a lot of what we hear when it comes to the incentive programs is that they're not really or hadn't been functional in a way that encouraged developers to take them on. So it's nice to see with this one, and as it's coming into play, that it is something that is being taken, I don't want to say taken advantage of, that it's being utilized by a developer with a current program. And can you just confirm, that was one kind of outstanding question that I had, was just, is that 50 years effective as of the first buildings coming online, or is it implemented when the full property is up? When does that 50-year, I guess, timer start?
It would be at certificate of occupancy, like upon lease up of the building. So I guess it'll be kind of like a trailing. We'll have to keep an eye on the total. We'll just note the last month that so apparently it'll be April 2026 that they'll receive their final certificate of occupancy. That I know there's probably a more complicated legal interpretation of that, but we knew that there were these kind of running timelines of like when they would close on the loan and then when the units would come online, and we have to track both. So.
Thank you very much.
Councilmember Spence.
Thank you, Mayor. My question is, are the 22 affordable units distributed throughout all of their very large 5-story buildings, or are the 22 units in one of the buildings?
They'll be distributed amongst all of the buildings, and this is actually easier to accomplish when you have a phased development like this, where just one building is coming online at a time. We just ask that 10% of the total units in that building be offered up as for the affordable program as they are coming online. So,
Councilmember Matthews.
Thank you. Thank you for coming up and giving us more clarity. This is really great information. So I couldn't find it in the documentation that was linked to our agenda. Is there any criteria when we're doing the ranking of the applicants and stuff? And I brought this up before that our bond in total we had suggested, I guess, or claimed so many units would come out of it. Is there, do we look at that request, like, I think it's $24,000 per unit, what this ask comes for, which is really reasonable, but is that a criteria when we look at these applications to say, how many units are we getting for the dollar they're requesting, and will it, if it was 100,000 per unit, that would be not so reasonable, right?
Correct, yes, we did factor that, we did weigh the number of units in each in each application. We weighed that quite heavily, where, if you're asking for a higher, what's the word, more money per affordable unit than what we set, you get scored, your score drops, just like, so your score suffers if you're asking for a lot more than what we, tried to prioritize. It's hard to remember right now off the top of my head, but yeah, we set a limit, I almost want to say it was $12,000 per unit in order to achieve that 4 to 5. We probably landed on 450 units as the target. And so people could opt to ask for more based on their needs and know that their score might suffer. Like with Wexford Development, they were pretty conservative with their request, so they scored quite high. I think they favored a higher score over maximum amount of money, just to kind of pad this gap. So yes, they received an extra score or a higher score because their cost per unit was so low.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah.
Councilmember House, did you want to make a motion?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I move to approve item 7C.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you so much. All right, moving down to routine items, 8A, consideration and approval of contract.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rebecca Sayers. I'm the Parks Recreation Open Space and Events Director, and I can't talk and do this at the same time. I apologize. So we are very excited to bring to you for your consideration today a new contract for a point of sale and reservation management system. We've been working on this for years, and we are happy to welcome as well onto the meeting some of our partners with the hopefully contracted vendor. So Will Harrison is online, as well as KJ Shaw. I'll go through a quick presentation, and then they will go through a quick presentation as well to show you the benefit of this new system. So what is a recreation management system? This does almost everything that we do in our division. So it manages all of our memberships. So think of the Aquaplex, where we've got monthly memberships, yearly memberships, family, senior, business pack. We've got all kinds of options. We've got memberships at Josie Montoya. We've got memberships at Hal Jensen. We've got punch passes and systems at the ice rink as well. So this type of a system manages all of that for us. It's also all of our program registrations, so think of our day camps, our swim lessons, also all of our sport league registrations, both the events that we put on and the special event permitting and youth sports field reservations and invoicing. This is all through this type of system, and then point of sale for any retail items that we might sell. So this is an essential tool for our division. Kaizen is a relatively new company, but they have been growing quickly because their product is so amazing. Pima County, I believe, and they'll talk more about these, but Pima County in Arizona was one of their first clients. It was one of my first experiences to see what they had to offer. And you can see here that they offer a lot of similarities or similar items that we will be as well. They're also working right now with Cottonwood, Maricopa County, and I will not pronounce the last town correctly, so I'm going to skip it. They have also worked in other states, as you can see here. These are all clickable links in the presentation, so if you pull this up from the agenda, you can go to these cities and see their websites and see how great a product this is. So when might we do this? If approved tonight, we plan to start right away. Kaizen is very anxious. Look at him, he's already like nodding his head. I think they want to sign the contract tonight if you approve it and start with us tomorrow if we can get our act together that quickly. But it's a relatively quick time frame and turnaround to hopefully be implemented in February, March of 2026. And you might be asking why. We have a system now, it works fine most of the time. But what it lacks is reliability. It's not cyber secure. I have Sean sitting right next to us here with our IT department. It has caused them all kinds of problems, especially recently this year, where we were shut down for days and we were not able to take payments or make reservations, and we were just having to let people into our facilities for free, and we were missing days of revenue just because our current vendor couldn't help us get the system back online. This new system offers modern functionality. You can actually use it on a mobile device. We can't do that right now, but you can try. It's not very good. Digital wallet-based pay. So the comparison, and hopefully I'm not stealing any thunder, but what hooked me was when I heard KJ and his partner Nikhil talk about this as an Airbnb platform. You can rent a space on the other side of the planet with your phone and pay for it and have it reserved and you show up. Why can't we do that with recreation amenities? That's the idea here. So clean website, security and compliance, better communication for our patrons, so we'd actually be able to send out messages. Believe it or not, we can't do that right now. 24-hour customer support for us, and we have numerous testimonials, which a few of them are here in your presentation, but I would really rather turn it over to Kaizen and Will to do a short presentation just to show you directly.
Amazing. Thank you, Rebecca. We appreciate it. We promise we will spare you the timeshare presentation that we could show you here today. But to kick things off with a quick introduction, my name is Will Harrison. I am from the business development side over here on the West Coast. I'm a lacrosse coach on my 5 to 9, coaching my high school alma mater out here in Southern California. And I formerly worked at a software company called Oracle, and I am joined here by our co-founder and COO, KJ. I'll let him introduce himself real quick.
Yeah, thank you all so much for the opportunity here. My name is KJ. I'm one of the co-founders of Kaizen, and Rebecca, you did steal our thunder there. That is exactly the vision with which we started the company. Myself, my team, my co-founder, all of us on the team, we just dreamed of this vision where the technologies that we use in the public sector, and especially in outdoor recreation, should look and feel just as beautiful, delightful, and intuitive as the technologies that so many of us in the room today probably have on our phones. And that's the technology that we build at Kaizen. So I'll pass it back to Will to share more, but again, really honored to have this opportunity. We're doing some incredible work with some of the partners that were mentioned in the earlier presentation, and very excited at the opportunity to have Flagstaff be part of that portfolio. So thank you again for the opportunity.
Awesome. Thanks, KJ. Rebecca, if you could go to the next slide. Perfect. So we built Kaizen because we believed, just like you mentioned, if I could take my phone out and book someone's house halfway across the world within minutes, I could check out with something like Google Pay or Apple Pay on my cell phone. Why should Parks and Rec be any different? I could easily take out my phone and have my Manhattan Beach Parks and Rec QR code right next to my Fry's rewards card or my boarding pass. we wanted to be able to integrate that software into Parks and Recreation. And we only work with about 30 to 35 communities per year because every community has, like Flagstaff, has different needs. And the system is constantly improving. We don't charge for updates or additional modules or anything like that. The system is continuously improving every single day. Rebecca, if you could go to the next slide. So I hinted at a couple different companies there, and we actually took a lot of the top talent from these companies that we use every single day, right? Like Spotify, Airbnb, Twitter, Amazon, Uber, and combined all of that talent to build a mobile-first, easy-to-use reservation system. If you can go to the next slide. And we want to be a one-stop shop for everything Parks and Recreation, from signing up to programs and classes on my phone, to childcare and facility reservations and point of sale, even to things like event ticketing and digital memberships directly on your mobile wallet. And then last but almost not least, and then we also cover about 75% of the total population of Arizona, or approximately 5.5 million residents, from Pima County to Maricopa County, to a community up north similar to you guys, Cottonwood, Arizona, and other communities like Vail Recreation District and San Bernardino County, the largest county in the United States by area. And then we can go to the last one. I just wanted to point out a quick little case study from our friends over in Pima County. If you give folks an easy-to-use, mobile-friendly solution, you'll just see an increase in bookings, an increase in engagement, an increase in revenue. And that's what we hope to accomplish over here in Flagstaff. So happy to answer any questions here, but just wanted to point out that since Pima County implemented Kaizen, they've seen a 20% year-over-year revenue growth just by switching over to a mobile-friendly, easy-to-use platform.
One thing I would like to point out to the council, this is different for us in that we do plan, and this is in the staff summary, I just want to make sure we are all clear and aware. We do plan through this implementation to, for those that use credit cards, those fees are paid by the user. So through this mobile application, those fees are paid by the user. And then eventually as recreation or Parks and Recreation goes through a rate review, which hopefully is coming up in the next 12 months or so, we would like to work the Kaizen software cost into those rates. And so I just wanted to put that on the table for future consideration as we talk with council about those rates.
Council, do you have any questions or comments? Councilmember Aslan.
Thank you. I find this to be pretty exciting. I do want to discuss cybersecurity a little bit. I don't know if CJ can start coming down the aisle. I don't know if he has answers, but we do have concerns about the evolving state of AI and cybersecurity. I just want to make sure that CJ's office is signed off on this, and if you can speak to anything at all, that'd be great. No need to reveal any secrets of the trade in terms of how you guys protect the city, but I do know that we are constantly under threat and being bombarded with attempts of infiltration, and just wanted to give due diligence to discussing that with the group.
Yeah, Mayor and Vice Mayor, Councilmember Aslan, CJ Perry, your CIO. I'm actually going to defer to Sean Armour. She did the review from the cybersecurity perspective on this platform. So here's Sean.
Yes, thank you for the question. And we did review the contract. The contract is very secure. We are going to be using SSO, which is called single sign-on, which allows people to have secure methods to log in. There's other security features like multi-factor authentication that could be implemented that makes it even further secure. And I'm sure that Kaizen can speak more to the technology that they've implemented to prevent what's called a DDoS attack. So that is an attack where an attacker will try to run credit cards that they have stored over and over and over again to see which ones are valid. And that's actually what took down RecTrack recently, our current CRM and POS for pros. And yeah, Kaizen, if you would speak more to that level of security that you have implemented.
Yeah, absolutely. And I totally understand the reasoning for the question and the importance of it. So the payment processor that Kaizen uses, and this is the same, payment processor that's used by all of our partners across the country. That payment processor is PCI DSS level 1 compliant. That's the highest level of payment compliance that any kind of processing system can have. That same processor, Stripe, they processed over $1.4 trillion in payment volume last year, and they're planning to increase that year over year. So from a security perspective, you have companies like the Walmart Group and United Airlines also using the same payment processor. So we inherit that security automatically because we use this payment processor. And also probably worth calling out, aside from the payments perspective, there's also things like HIPAA compliance that we have natively. So HIPAA compliance allows us to store any kind of sensitive medical information or allergy information natively in the system. We have 24/7 continuous monitoring of those controls. So we have a backup plan and an entire order of operations internally if any of those controls are broken. So that goes for HIPAA compliance, ISO 27000 compliance, and then also SOC 2 compliance. So those are sort of the three that we take very seriously and are constantly monitoring. And then we have an on-call engineering protocol. So if any of those controls are broken, an engineer is notified immediately and has an entire action step for remediation. So those are just some of the things we're doing. Happy to dig in a little bit deeper and touch on any of those.
Thank you, KJ. Did you have any other questions about that,
Yeah,
Councilmember
well,
Aslan?
I don't want to get too deep into the weeds about this. I trust the professional assessment of your office. I do want to ask a little bit about AI. How is AI integrated into the software at all? And if so, can you speak to that?
Yes, so the AI is not currently natively integrated into the system. We do have, AI tools that we have on our product roadmap, but in that situation, we would work very closely with the Flagstaff team to see if they're a good fit for the department. And when I say we have AI tools on our roadmap, it would be more so things like, let's say that the Parks and Recreation team needs to come up with a program description for an event that they're hosting or a program they're providing, giving some of those in-house capabilities to generate a program description automatically. Those are the kinds of things that we refer to as potential things to adopt. But at this time, there's no immediate, near-term adoption of AI in the system today.
Yeah, and to comment a little bit further about our IT strategic direction on utilizing AI tools within our pieces of software, we're always looking for any vendors that utilize closed systems. So that means that any data entered into the AI system would not go out to the world at large, and that data would still be owned by us and would not be known by any other entities besides us and the vendor.
Great. Well, I wouldn't be in a hurry to implement those interactions. And also, I would highly recommend multi-factor authentication, but that's just me.
Thank you very much.
Councilmember House.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Rebecca and Sean, and to the consultants for sharing on this. I'm excited by what this represents and the opportunities for a more streamlined processes and programming through our Parks and Rec. I think it's a really great tool, just having done a little bit of looking at some of the other places where it's been implemented and seeing how effective and positive it's been in those communities. I'm really excited for the potential bringing it to ours. So thank you.
Vice Mayor.
Thank you. I too am excited for the possibilities, and I think this is a great advancement for our Parks and Rec, and so many people enjoy our amenities here in Flagstaff, and to make it better accessible, I think, is a plus. I do have a question, and it's probably really random, but will this be for Ramada rentals as well?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and I'm thinking of a couple of groups that I'm in, neighborhood associations, et cetera, that meet at the Ramadas. How will they, I don't know the system now, will it be easy for people to transition, I guess in general, from the old system to the new one? And how does that, is there a communication, or do they just go online and there it is?
So we do have online Ramada reservations right now. I would say that's one of the better things that our team was able to implement within the last 2 to 3 years, 2 years. But even it still has quirks and issues. In terms of, so in our Ramada season is right now just a season, so there's not ongoing. So any of our users would need to rebook a Ramada every year anyway, even if it's an annual or a monthly event. We do that on a first come, first serve basis. This will make it easier, and I'm wondering if either Will or KJ would like to discuss how we will transfer over or invite our members to transfer over from our existing system to the new system.
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple things to note. One thing that I'd call out is, change on any kind of technology for residents can be something that requires, a strategic plan. It's not just a sort of rip and replace, especially if you, like mentioned, have existing accounts or, you're used to the existing system. So what we've done across Arizona partnerships and beyond is we usually take a more of like a strategic, like phased approach where we introduce one part of the system and then slowly migrate folks over, get them familiar, give them the ability to actually create an account, test it out, get the rep with the system. And then I think that builds a lot of community confidence and buy-in as you transition over to a new system fully. Now, as it relates to data transfer and migration, that is absolutely included in our services as well. The one part that we spend time with, and what we tend to do with implementation is the Flagstaff team will get a dedicated implementation representative who is the primary point of contact, and this will be the same individual who's worked with other Arizona communities. And what we'll do is produce reports in the existing system for some of the critical things that need to get transferred over. And then with those exports and reports, we can do some data ingestion into our new system. It's a bit of like a discussion of what parts of the sort of puzzle want to get migrated over. We oftentimes do recommend, though, that starting fresh, like Rebecca mentioned, is usually the best option, but there are critical pieces that need to get transferred over and can be transferred over using reports.
Thank you. It sounds like you have pre-thought about my concerns, so I appreciate that. Thanks.
Councilmember Spence.
Thank you. My question to you, Rebecca, is how does this $90,000 per year compare to our current system if we were to continue business as usual? What are the annual costs that this will replace?
This is a little bit more if the city is paying for it. So as we're entering this contract, the city will be paying that Kaizen fee. Note that in the future, and how Kaizen's business model is typically set up with other communities, is that the end user pays for the Kaizen fee. And so as we come back with our rate analysis in a year to 18 months, we will have that conversation at that time. It's my hope that we could pass that cost on or include it in our rates that are established at that time in the future. In terms of a comparison to our existing software, the account numbers, which you'll see in the staff summary, there are many identified to pay for this first year and next year. That's piecing together all of the funds that we pay our existing vendor and the credit card fees that we pay right now internally. Again, remember, we will be asking the user to pay those. So in the end, all being said, it will save the city money if implemented as their business model is typically. For now, it will cost us this $90,000, and that's based on an estimated revenue of $1.8 million. If Kaizen is doing the job that they say they will do, we will increase that and possibly have to increase our not-to-exceed amount. And I will be happy to figure out how to find the funding when that time comes. But for the other thing to think about with our existing vendor is they do nickel and dime us. So every time we need training or assistance or need them to fix something, they tend to charge us. Plus, we have an annual fee that we pay them. Plus, they have a training fee just for routine training. Plus, I don't even know what they ask our IT team to try to pay. Like, it's just every time we're turning around, it's hard to predict how much we're going to end up paying them. This is going to be predictable.
Thank you for that analysis, and I too am excited for this. Instead of being nickel and dime, we're going to pay $90,000 up front, and we get a great service. So I thank you for that, and I do support it.
Councilmember Garcia, you wanted to make the motion?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. And I'll just make a quick comment. Thank you, Rebecca, for the presentation, and also thank you for bringing us something that is catching us up to the speed of growth and change at just the right time, I think. I'm very happy that they predict that the 20% growth will happen year over year, and then, in a sense, help pay for the extra cost. But I'm not so much worried or concerned about the revenue as much as I am in hope that this partnership with Kaizen will enhance and embolden the visitorship and connect more citizens with the vast recreational opportunities that we have here at the City of Flagstaff, and with so many things yet to come that are in the pipeline with the Parks Department. This is really the right fit at the right time. So with that, I will make the motion to approve the contract, or excuse me, approve the cooperative purchase contract with Kaizen Laboratories, Inc., and execute a contract in the amount not to exceed $90,000 annually, and authorize the city manager to execute the necessary documents.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Thank you so much online, and thank you, Rebecca. All right, moving down to B, consideration and adoption of ordinance number 2025-22. This is a continuation of our first read of the ordinance. So, council, do you have any additional questions? If not, then I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, I'd like to move that we read ordinance number 2025-22 by title only for the final time.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
City Clerk?
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Flagstaff amending the Flagstaff City Code, Chapter 1-18, Administrative Departments to establish the Housing Division and rename the Community Development Division to the Planning and Development Services Division, providing for repeal of conflicting ordinances, severability, authority for clerical corrections, and establishing an effective date.
Thank you. And a motion to adopt?
Mayor, I'll move to adopt ordinance number 2025-22.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. So we are down to item 9B, consideration and adoption of ordinance number 2025-27.
Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council. My name is Ryan Saxby. I'm your HR and Risk Management Director. This item is an update to the City of Flagstaff Employee Handbook, specifically Section 1-60-30, Section D. It removes a reference. It's related to the city manager. And there's a couple of updates to this. First, it removes a reference to the city manager's role in appointing officers. Under the definition, an officer includes the city manager, the city attorney, and the magistrates. So that is your responsibility, not the city manager's, so we're cleaning that up. Additionally, at your direction, this affords mayor and council the flexibility in appointing a city manager who has a family member or relative currently employed with the city of Flagstaff at the time of appointment, and outlines mayor and council's authority to outline conditions related to this in the city manager's employment agreement. This does not conflict with Arizona Revised Statute 38-481, which prohibits anyone elected or appointed to hire, that would include a city manager, but to hire or appoint a family member or relative. And that's it.
Any questions, council? I believe Councilmember Aslan would like to make a motion.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. I'd like to move that we read ordinance number 2025-27 for the first time.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? City Clerk?
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Flagstaff amending the Flagstaff City Code, Chapter 1-14 Personnel System by amending the Employee Handbook of Regulations, Section 1-60-030, Nepotism, providing for repeal of conflicting ordinances, severability, authority for clerical corrections, and establishing an effective date.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
Next up is item C, consideration and appointment and approval of employment agreement.
Great, this one's mine as well. So as you well know, after a lengthy and involved recruitment to replace outgoing city manager Greg Clifton, Mayor and Council, you have all selected Joanne Keene, who sits to my left, your current deputy city manager, to fulfill the role as city manager. The recruitment process included a nationwide search utilizing an outside recruitment firm to narrow down dozens of interested candidates to a smaller group invited back to interview. From that, a pool of finalists were invited to participate in an extensive day of interviews and panels and meet and greets on October 22nd. We had 2 finalists, of course, participate in that. That was Joanne and one other. These activities, if you will, included a staff meet and greet, a public meet and greet, an interview with the leadership team, a presentation to the extended leadership team, interview with community leaders, and of course, an interview with yourselves. This city manager employment agreement is attached to the agenda item. Hopefully you've all had a chance to look at that, and it has been reviewed and signed off by our outside legal counsel. Thank you.
Any comments or questions? Councilmember Matthews.
Mayor, I move that we appoint and approve the employment agreement for the new city manager, Joanne Keene.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Are you going to
Thank
move
you.
over now?
What?
Oh, I was going to move that way. Mayor and Council, I just want to say thank you. This is such an honor. I'm so excited to work with all of you and for this incredible organization, community, and our great staff. So I can't wait, and I'm ready to get to work. So thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. All right, so moving down to D, consideration and adoption of ordinance number 2025-24.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Bryce Doty, your real estate manager. Today, this item represents the first step to acquire an existing indoor shooting range that's currently on the market. What this item doesn't quite do is detail all of the ongoing efforts by several parties in order to make something like this happen. And all of those ongoing efforts are going to culminate in an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Flagstaff, the Sheriff's Department, and the Coconino Community College. And so that's ultimately a more fulsome presentation on the needs of this facility will be presented when we consider that IGA between all the parties. What we're really doing today is authorizing this purchase so that we can take this opportunity off the market while all those parties hammer out the funding and the operation of a proposed facility. So today I'm going to let you know what it is, where it is, and kind of give you those updates while all the rest of the stuff is happening in the background. So where we're at, we're off of 89, about 12 miles from City Hall, just north, all accessible by highway, which is in contrast to the current facility, which is an outdoor-only facility that the police use, which is requires 6 miles of road on unpaved forest roads. And so this is where we're at. It's I don't know if anyone's familiar with it. It's Timberline Shooting Range, right off the corner of 89 and Copeland Lane. And it was open for operation in 2018. It's a 12-lane indoor shooting facility. There are expansion plans, if needed, to expand it to 18 lanes. It's an 11,000 square foot facility. It sits on 1.7 acres. In 2021, it was awarded a gold award by Coconino County Sustainability Awards program. And it's a special use facility. What I mean by special use facility is that it's a limited market for a kind of facility like this. So this has been on the market for a while, but it's going to take a special buyer to find this. It's just going to be limited. The pool of people who want to own and operate an indoor shooting range is pretty limited. And so what that means for us is that this purchase price of $2.35, that actually comes in pretty low, below the appraised value for this. And to kind of give you some other context for that, Cochise College, they recently, in 2024, they opened up an indoor shooting range for their training academy. And they built that for a ticket of upwards of $9 million. And so when we're looking at things like the expansion of the north facility of the existing police facility, looking at the cost per square foot value of that, if we wanted to go kind of build something of the same caliber, we expect that we would probably be in that kind of price tag. And so in terms of what an opportunity it is, it could represent significant cost savings over trying to build a facility ourselves. When the chief became aware of this opportunity, it was clear that we wanted to try to take advantage of it. But we also couldn't come up with nearly the amount of money that the asking price required. And so the chief has been knocking on doors trying to figure out how can we take advantage of this opportunity. And so what really has come into view right now is a partnership between City of Flagstaff and the Coconino Community College. And their intent is to kind of use this as the training facility for the High Country Training Academy, similar to kind of how that Cochise College facility works and operates. And then also the Sheriff's Department decided to contribute some money into it. Right now, we're at the stages of sharing drafts for an intergovernmental agreement, explaining kind of how all this is going to work. We're very close to what we think is going to be the final IGA to present to you, but we're not quite there yet. And so that is going to be a further action before council to hear. And then importantly, this purchase agreement, it is going to be contingent on us finding that funding and successfully entering into that IGA. And so what you're authorizing today is going to authorize the ability to purchase this. It's going to, and then on the second read, we're going to approve the purchase agreement. But if this whole thing, if we come back to an IGA or if that IGA never happens, this deal never happens also. So I just want to let you know that's where that's at. And then, are we putting the cart before the horse kind of with this? I would just say what we're really trying to do right now is give some certainty to the property owner that we're serious about this. This is going to start establishing those timelines for when we all need to start acting so that we can take advantage of this opportunity. And it's going to prevent other potential purchasers from entering into a contract with the property owner. And so that is what's happening today. I'm happy to address any other questions you may have or any other additional information you'd like to know about in a second read.
Councilmember Matthews.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I think this is a great investment for our law enforcement. I'm surprised not to see one of our community partners on there, but that's probably a different story. And I don't know, Bryce, if you're the person that can answer this, but in doing a little research on this, how it's explained in the packet is that we're pulling, what was it, $442,000 from the development impact fees and $558 reallocation from the PD's budget. And I could be off on the numbers, but there seems that we have enough just in the development impact fees to cover our share of this. And so I'm curious of why we're splitting that up and why, what will trigger us to maybe do a formal budget amendment. If it's already in the fund for police department and it's ample to cover the whole $1 million, can you just explain that to me a little bit?
I can't, but there's been a lot of back and forth about how we use those development impact fees. And so I don't know if Matt Mansfield wants to address that, or if Rick Tatter is online. There he is, and he is the master of this.
Hello, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council members, Rick Tatter, Management Service Director. We went through a process to determine what level of development fees is appropriate for this purchase. We want to make sure that we're not putting ourselves in a way of a future lawsuit related to the use of these funds. And so we went through what is a proportionate share review of growth in our community over the last several years to determine that at a certain point we had 26% growth in population that this firearm training facilities will serve. And so, working with our legal team, talking with our consultants, Tischler Bice, who works with our development fees, we felt that we had a very defensible level. We could defend that a certain amount could be used with development fees and would not look to use 100% of those development fees. So that was the first part of your question, I believe. The second part is about budget and appropriation. As we close out the year, there could be a budget or a contingency transfer needed. It really depends on where the police budget ends, because we require each division to be under the approved budget level at the end of the year. So we'll look at what they had to budget in grants, their operations, compared to the purchase price that we're going to have to record on our financial statements to determine if we actually have to do a budget adjustment at year end. It's possible, but not guaranteed yet. We'll see how the year closes out. I believe, was that both your questions?
It was, and I had read it that we would have to do that budget amendment now, so that makes more sense what you just said.
Not yet.
And then the development impact fees are allocated for fire and police for asset acquisition. So, but I understand what you're saying. I think there's a couple $1 million in there, but you're trying to balance it out so it's not all going to one transaction. Is that a correct assumption?
Yeah, we want to make sure it's a defensible, fair amount going toward the firearms training. Plus, we have other needs in police that we are building these revenues for. But yeah, it's a balance of both those.
Thank you, Rick.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Councilmember Spence.
Thank you, Mayor. I have two questions. The current shooting facility that's down the 6 miles of unpaved road, who owns and operates that? And what impact will this move have on that shooting range?
Yes.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Councilmember Spence. Currently, I'm not 100% sure on who owns, but I know it's run by Arizona Game and Fish Department, and I believe partially it's privately owned as well on the weekends. So it's kind of a shared ownership. So we still use that. I think with this purchase, it comes the lease of some property for us to do some outdoor shooting as well, which is also closer to town. So that's going to benefit us as well. But yeah, we're paying approximately $5,000 a year to use the Arizona Game and Fish Range, which was initially built for law enforcement, and Arizona Post, I think, contributed to that build, and then Game and Fish kind of controls it.
Thank you. And so that's an outdoor-only facility down that 6-mile road? It's not indoor?
It's outdoor, and there's no covered berms. You got to wear lots of sunscreen. It doesn't have some of the more modern amenities to kind of pick up brass that a lot of these outdoor ranges have, maybe in other parts of the state. But it works, and we get it done with that. But it's only open 6 months a year. I mean, in winter months when the roads are closed, you can't take vehicles off-road to get to this location. So that means I can only train the proficiency of firearms at the basic level and the advanced level. You know, I may only get an officer out there once a year, where now if we had this range, you know, a firearms instructor could take a squad of officers, you know, quarterly and get them out there to practice the proficiency.
Thank you for that. That sounds like this is potentially a great improvement. My second question is, and I'm not a firearms enthusiast, so I've never been to a shooting range. My question is there any possibility that the public could use this repurposed indoor shooting range, that you could charge the public to use this alongside law enforcement, or is this going to be exclusive for law enforcement, not available to the public for fee use?
Yeah, thank you, Councilmember Spence. I believe initially it's going to be to fill that training gap for law enforcement between the basic training academy, the sheriff's office, the Flagstaff Police Department, and other agencies up here. But, you know, I think the possibility could be down the road to create some type of enterprise there.
Thank you. I fully support this whole effort.
Councilmember Garcia.
Thank you so much, Madam Mayor. And this question may have been answered by Rick in his response to Councilmember Matthews' question. I was just kind of curious what the trade-offs were from the $500,000 from the police budget that we would have to sacrifice in order to make this acquisition. But it sounds to me like we're not quite there with the budget yet, so it would be something that we'd learn in the future. Is that true, Rick, or?
So, police department has worked with our finance team, and we've looked at their budget with the chief and deputy chief. There are some items that they are looking to forego. Some of it was some of our dispatch councils, some equipment, some software deference that kind of accumulate funding from the police current budget. But we could definitely provide more detail when we get to the final agreement with council.
I wouldn't mind seeing some of that information just to make sure that, you know, we're not trading one thing for another. I want to make sure that we keep as much as our department whole and active as possible, but I also see the benefit in acquiring this shooting range. It just makes sense, and it seems like it comes in at a really good value for the taxpayer dollar, so thank you.
Vice Mayor.
Thank you. I too am supportive of this, but I did have a question. Do you happen to know the annual operating and maintenance costs, and how is that going to be shared among the partners if we move forward?
What's pretty cool about this facility, so it does have a solar array right now, and it actually does produce twice as much electricity as it requires, at least as it's currently operating. But in terms of the total overall operating expenses, I think we're budgeting for, I think it was 10K a month, I think? 10K a month for operating expenses. And right now, how that's going to be shared is going to depend on how that IGA shakes out, whether and which parties are only receiving licenses, which ones are going to have real property interest in the building, and all that will be coming at a future date.
Thank you.
Councilmember Aslan.
Thank you. One quick question and a couple comments. The question real quickly is, it doesn't look like this property is on city property.
It is in the county, correct?
Are there any peculiarities to that?
As far as I know, there's no restrictions or anything peculiar about the city owning property that just happens to be outside the city limits. There shouldn't pose an issue.
Okay, I didn't think so. I just wanted to double check on that. So this acquisition seems like a great opportunity for the city, and I'm really stoked about the intergovernmental agreement aspect of it. These are some great partners. Kudos to the chief and those involved for striking while the iron is hot. Firearms training, especially for law enforcement, is never a one and done. So the increased accessibility and control of this offers the city is going to improve safety for the community and improve the safety of our men and women in uniform. Very excited about it. And lastly, I just want to echo the idea of eventually making this an enterprise opportunity, as Councilmember Spence brought up. I see no reason why this couldn't become revenue generating and a great opportunity to allow for good community policing for the public to interact positively with our local agencies.
All right. Councilmember Matthews, you want to make the motion?
I do, Mayor. Thank you. I'd like to move that we read ordinance number 2025-24 by title only for the first time.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? City Clerk?
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Flagstaff authorizing the acquisition of a joint law enforcement firearms training facility for public safety, providing for delegation of authority, providing for severability, authority for clerical corrections, and establishing an effective date.
Thank you. Moving down to E. Thank you all. Consideration of the Council Initiative Fund.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Stacy Salzberg, Communication and Civic Engagement Director. Before you tonight is a request to utilize the Council Initiative Fund to fund the furnishing of a room at the Lantern. This request came from Councilmember House, so I suspect she could probably provide a little more information about that. Currently, there is $11,500 remaining in the Council Initiative Fund, so there is capacity to utilize or to do this if so chosen. The way that this is also agendized is if there are other things that Council, has thought of and want to address tonight as part of the use of that fund, that is available to you to discuss.
Thank you, Stacy. Councilmember House, would you like to elaborate?
Absolutely. So I recently had the opportunity and privilege to tour the Lantern site and see all the work that has gone into getting this property ready for community members to be able to move in. And it's very exciting to see where they're at now and just the progress that's been made on this project. And one of the things that the shelter service is doing is looking to supply basic furnishings, so kitchen equipment and trash cans and things like that for each room. And so they've put together I believe it's just on Amazon, an Amazon wish list with all the items listed out that can be purchased. Some items are split to be used across multiple rooms, so like trash cans, I think it comes in a supply of 7 or 12, and so they don't need one per room. But other items are broken out specifically by room. So I, after that tour, actually personally purchased the supplies for a room, and it came out to about $300, maybe a little bit more than that. And so I wanted to bring that opportunity to the rest of council as well, to consider funding the stocking of a room at this new community housing option. It's a wonderful and low-cost opportunity for us to speak into the value of the lantern to our community and advancing people through the housing continuum from experiencing homelessness to transitional housing and eventually into permanent housing. I think it's again, low-cost opportunity for us to speak into the value of the people that are living there as well, as members of our community and as valued members of our community, and supporting them in this next step in their own journeys as well. So I would love for council to consider funding a room. My original request was going to be for more, but after talking about it, it was just, let's start there and see how we can support this moving forward.
I am fully in support of doing this, and I love the idea of us talking about it in public to also give the public the opportunity to join in and help supply a room. 104 new units opening very soon. It is 104, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, 104 new units, so I think that this is a great use of the initiative funds. Councilmember Garcia.
Thank you so much, Councilmember House, for bringing this forward. Since you mentioned the cost of it, that seems like something that would be affordable for someone like myself. So on top of fully supporting the Council Initiative Fund usage of the money, I plan to also donate, as you have, to hopefully get a room that I can help provide for those that are definitely in need in what I'm seeing as coming together as a really wonderful place to be, and I hope to get that same tour you did here shortly. Thank you.
Well said, Councilmember. So we've got thumbs up.
Actually, we would need a motion and a second on that.
That's right. That is right.
Thumbs up too, that works too.
So I got excited, I'm sorry. Councilmember House, would you like to make the motion?
Sure. I would move that we use the Council Initiative Fund to fund a room at the Lantern.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks for bringing this to us. Okay, future agenda item requests. This is a fair regarding a citizen's petition for stopping development of shadow pines. And we normally allow the person who submitted the petition to be the first to speak, and I don't know if that person is here. I don't think I see the name on any of these cards, so I'm just going to call them in the order that I have them. So Vance Marshall.
I'm Vance Marshall and live at 528 North Pine Cliff, adjacent to proposed development. We neighbors have been given exceedingly little information about this project. In pursuing staff, they have told me, number one, the development will utilize a system to have substantially smaller lots than our existing adjacent lots. Two, the height of these homes can be up to 35 feet. Three, staff doesn't know what the homes will look like or whether they will be for sale or rent. And I'm wondering, does Flagstaff have no design review process similar to other communities that I've lived in. The developers are requesting 5,000 square foot lots with minimal setbacks on the side and rear, thus further destroying the view corridors for those of us adjacent. In exchange for granting these small lots, can the city require that these homes be single-story? The owners of this project also own Western Hills Motel, which is adjacent this land and fronts on Route 66. Is this project a planned extension of their hotel operations? Is it short-term rentals? Is it what? We have Zippo idea. The site will be basically a cul-de-sac off a cul-de-sac, since Ponderosa Parkway is not a public street by the church. The recently built schools, and there are now 4 schools within half mile of that site. The recently built schools, apartments, and high-density housing have all added substantial traffic, which funnels to Ponderosa Parkway and Turquoise. Is the developer prepared to contribute toward the eventual roundabout or stoplight which would end up there? To me, this is a project which requires much more consideration before its approval.
Thank you. Mary Oatman.
Hello. I also live in the Schweitzer Mesa subdivision, and I have several concerns regarding the Shadow Pines subdevelopment. One of these concerns is the Ponderosa Parkway Pine Cliff Drive intersection, which is currently busy and dangerous. Currently, every car in the following areas must go through this one intersection to either go to or from their homes. This includes the Schweitzer Mesa subdivision, the 50 houses north of the McMillan Mesa Park, the Stone Ridge condominiums, the Ponderosa Park apartments, the Legacy Pine apartments, and the Montessori Charter School. All the cars in the potential Shadow Pines subdivision would also have to go through the Ponderosa Parkway Pine Cliff Drive intersection to go to and from their homes, adding additional danger and congestion to this intersection. On the 4th of July, my sister parked at our house on Locust Street, and we walked to the McMillan Mesa open space to watch the drone show. After the show, we walked home, and she stayed at our house for about 15 more minutes to allow the traffic to clear. But the traffic hadn't cleared, and she was stuck in traffic on the Mesa for an additional 45 minutes. While having to wait an hour after a drone show to get home may not seem that important, this did show that the Mesa has limited escape routes should there be an actual emergency, such as a wildfire. We witnessed the impact of limited escape routes during the most recent California and Hawaii wildfires, where people had to abandon their vehicles and start running for their lives from the encroaching flames. I wouldn't want anything like that to happen in Flagstaff. A second concern I have about the proposed development is the impact on local wildlife. In November 2016, Flagstaff voters overwhelmingly approved Proposition 413, designating McMillan Mesa a protected city open space, being one of the last remaining grasslands within city limits, providing important habitat for elk, deer, and other wildlife. The adjacent area on Schweitzer Mesa, where the Shadow Pines development is proposed, is an equally important part of the wildlife habitat, and I believe should have been included in the protected open space. We see wildlife in this area almost daily, grazing, sleeping, burrowing, and caring for their offspring. I would ask that you please reconsider if a new subdivision in this area on the Mesa is the best decision for Flagstaff. Thank you.
Thank you. James Gross.
Good afternoon. My name is James Gross. I live at 612 North Locust Street in the Schweitzer Mesa subdivision. I'm against the development of this proposed Shadow Pines subdivision. At the beginning of this meeting, you talked about that the mission of the city is to protect and enhance for everyone. I don't think approving this development will do that. I have the same traffic concerns as the people who spoke before me. One that hasn't been mentioned yet is the circle between Gemini and Pine Cliff, where the basis school is. If you look at when the school gets out, that circle comes to a complete standstill. I have been stopped there many times coming through that way. I have pictures here, which I will leave for the council, that shows that development and cars going the wrong way on the circle to avoid the traffic and the congestion in that area. That happened for a full 10 minutes, people going the wrong way, until there were so many cars they couldn't get through. If there was an emergency and an emergency vehicle needed to come that way, it couldn't. I guess they could always take the extra 5 minutes to go around, and hopefully nobody's life would be in jeopardy because of that. The other traffic concern I have is Schweitzer Canyon Road itself. I've seen it backed up all the way from Route 66 to the traffic circle on Turquoise. It's coming out of the Fry's parking lot already is precarious. Crunch Fitness is getting ready to move in. This is going to only add to that congestion. It's not this development, it's the entire mesa. I'm not sure that there should be any development on this mesa until the infrastructure is built to support that. And it starts with this development. I'm also concerned, back in 1995, the Schweitzer Mesa subdivision plat was approved by the City Council with conditions. One of those conditions related to our Lot 7. It said that the lot had to be developed as a paved road. That's evidenced by the CC&R amendment, which was signed by the owner of the property at the time. I'll leave that for the council. It also was supposed to go on to the successor. It says it's a paved road, yet the plat that has been submitted is for a gravel road, and that's been pushed through. It worries me then about the other due diligence that hasn't been done. I don't think every stone has been uncovered for what this developer needs to do. The last concern I have is about the sewer. It's my understanding that this is going to be the first subdevelopment that has a sewer line that is fed through by a pump as opposed to just gravity. I've walked the property. The place where the pump is going is a very steep grade, and it's a very steep grade to get back up to the sewer line that it has to connect to. I'm sure the engineers have looked at this, and I'm sure they think it's adequate, but until it's put in place, no one's ever going to know what happens if this pump doesn't work. I think the developer needs to look at other alternatives. I find it hard-pressed to find out how this enhances, and maybe the council can explain that to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Trevor Kortson?
Mayor, can we have those papers circulated amongst council?
Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. My name is Trevor Kortson. I'm an attorney at Aspey, Watkins & Diesel. Our address is 123 North San Francisco Street, and I represent the Shadow Pines development, which is subject to the citizen petition. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about the project details specifically. City staff did a great job in their council report that you guys have seen, talking about what the project entails. I do want to address some of the concerns that have been raised by the neighbors. Just for way of background, the proposed development consists of 47 single-family lots on an 18.6 acre R1 zone site. Importantly, the R1 zoning designation permits a single-family development by right. The project is located between the San Francisco Diocese Catholic Church parcel and the Schweitzer Mesa subdivision. Interestingly enough, the Schweitzer Mesa subdivision, which is the neighborhood where the petitioners reside, is a high-density zoning designation, and the lot sizes are similar to those that will be used for the Shadow Pines subdivision. The Shadow Pines development has been carefully designed to meet the city's zoning code, and that includes through the use of a PRD, or planned residential development, which does permit a little bit smaller lot size than in a traditional R1 zoning, and so the lots will be about 5,000 square feet compared to about 6,000 square feet in the R1 zone. The applicant has already submitted their preliminary plat, and city staff has been going back and forth with the applicant regarding substantive comments. That's part of the process which the code permits and allows, and this is where city staff does their due diligence. City staff is addressing the concerns that have already been raised by the neighbors. A traffic impact statement has already been done. A traffic impact analysis has been performed by the applicant. And city staff has determined that there would be no traffic impact improvement or traffic road improvements that would be needed. One thing I'd like to note is I cannot stress how important it is that this is a PRD development, and it's going to comply with all of those zoning codes. The development staff is going to do their job. They're doing the due diligence now. We're going through the process. Some of the misconceptions we've already heard, there is not a sewer lift station. This is all gravity-fed sewer. Again, we talked about traffic. Lot 7 will be used for emergency access, which was permitted in the Schweitzer Mesa CCNRs in that plat. There will be a foots trail that will be part of this development to satisfy some minor conditions of approval that were previously done. Unfortunately, with 3 minutes, I don't have time to address all their concerns, but what I want to talk about is the Flagstaff zoning code is here for a reason. It's to provide predictability, it's to provide fairness. That's for homeowners, developers, builders. It's for the people who bought their homes previously and the people that need a house now. City Council is well aware of the housing needs in the city, and we're trying to provide a by right development. We're not asking for exceptions. We're not asking for anything that the city code does not permit. And so we just ask that City Council recognize as a by right development. Thank you.
Mayor, can I ask a question?
Actually, thank you. And Sterling has something he'd like to say.
Yeah, Mayor and Council, just a reminder that this came to you as a citizen petition tonight, and under the rules of procedure, that's for you to determine whether this would move forward to a discussion where there could be questions and back and forth between members of the public and yourselves. That said, the mayor has allowed council members to make statements why they are in support of moving a citizen's petition forward or why they are not in the past, but this wouldn't be the forum for a discussion. It hasn't been traditionally. Ultimately, that's up to you, Mayor.
Yeah, let's stick with the, our rules of procedure. And so what we're looking for now is council to indicate whether you want to put this forward on a future agenda for discussion. And then if you would like to indicate your thinking around your choice, feel free to do that. So I'm looking for 3 thumbs up to move it forward for discussion. All right, is there anyone who would like to make a statement? Councilmember Garcia.
Well, first of all, I want to start off by thanking the people that brought the citizens petitions forward and all the signatures that they've collected, and the folks that showed up here tonight to express how they feel about this by right development, and share a little anecdote. Trust me, I will not digress very far tonight. But I want to take you back into my life about 37 years ago. There was a place called Dirt Bike Dungeon that all the kids rode their motorcycles and dirt bikes around over behind where the Super 8 motel is, across on the east side of town. And it was a sanctuary for all of the neighborhood kids from Greenlaw to Smoke Rise. Everyone congregated there. It kept us out of trouble. It built fellowship. It did all the things that a place that we don't own, or that we didn't have the rights to, could help you out with. And it provided nature. There was animal habitats and the like. I appreciate your activist nature by coming out and saying that we feel like we have rights to this land as well. But what I learned 37 years ago through a long process with my mom and Flagstaff Police Department was that we tried to stop that development from moving forward by standing in front of the bulldozers with our motorcycles, and they let us know pretty quick that they were able to do everything that they were going to do. The people that owned that land were going to be able to do that because they had bought it, and it was no longer our right to use it anymore. And while that hurt, we now have the Mountain Lion bus station. We now have the Super 8 hotel expansion, and good things came from it. And that's where I learned about by right development. And I think that sharing that story could help, hopefully, shed some light on the fact that there may be an opportunity for any of us to potentially purchased that land, but the people that bought it and have the right to do what they want with it. And that's why I don't feel like it's necessary to have a discussion, because there would be no discussion to be had.
Councilmember Matthews.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to make a comment on why I'm not voting to move this forward. In a nutshell, to go on the backs of what Councilmember Garcia said, this is a by right development. The property owners are not looking for a rezone. Their attorney said it correctly that it's already zoned to what they're going to put in. I share some concerns. I was up there on the mesa during the drone show, and I couldn't get out, and somebody just kind of parked in the road and didn't move. So I too am curious on the traffic impact study, but I have faith in our staff that they are looking into this. This is something that won't come to council for us to vote on anyway, because it's all being built and developed by right. And so it will go through the process that way. And because of that, you know, for us to go in and say, you know, I don't even know what abilities we would have, but as a council to go in and stop something that is not, you know, it's one thing to vote yea or nay to approve changes. This is not that time. So we really, it won't come in front of us, and so there's not an opportunity for us to make that decision whether this development comes through or not. I am hoping, and I'm impressing on our staff, that these concerns, that most of them that were brought up are legitimate. Again, I've been up there, the traffic is a concern and some other things. So I'll put the burden back on the staff to do the job that I know they do very, very well, and go from there. So thank you.
I will mention that the staff report is attached to this agenda item, if anyone hasn't had a chance to see it. And then maybe ask if Mr. Kortson would have his client reach out to the neighbors to answer some of the questions that you have. All right, thank you. All right, open call to the public. I see none. Informational items, 2 from mayor, council, and staff, and future agenda item requests. I'll start with Councilmember Spence.
Nothing this evening, thank you.
Councilmember House.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Vice Mayor.
Thank you. And Michelle, don't leave. Sorry. I'm going to talk about cul-de-sac real quick. I did promise that I would report back, and I told Michelle how excited I am about this development that I went down to in Phoenix. I got a tour, and they are indeed carless, vehicleless. They are multimodal only. But the thing I loved the most, and I was surprised, I did research on the development, and their website really didn't hone in on this as much as I did when I got down there. So they have a business incubator program. That's the only way I can explain it. So in the development, there are ground floor apartments, and the apartment is kind of divided. So in the front, there's a retail space, or there was a bakery, a plant shop, a jewelry maker. There was another food person, and I can't think of it right now. So in the front, they could open up their business, and in the back, they could actually live on the property. And as someone who started my business with nothing, and don't say this to anyone, but I did live at my business for a little bit while I was getting it started, because I worked there almost 24 hours a day. So I was so impressed by this model, and it got me thinking about Flagstaff and how we have empty ground floor, unfinished, supposedly business frontage units at the bottom of, student housing, et cetera. And so I was thinking, Michelle, that, and Heidi, if you're online, or someone in economic development, that what a great opportunity to maybe rethink these empty storefronts that are in our community. We've tried different ideas. I've gone to meetings and heard, but I think this could be a model that, there are entrepreneurs who really struggle to get started, and this might be a great opportunity. And if anyone would like to go down to the cul-de-sac development, I would love to go back. That's how much I really was impressed. So, thank you.
I think you might be free to go now, Michelle, if you want to.
Thank
Councilmember
you, Michelle.
Aslan. Councilmember Garcia.
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Councilmember Matthews.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few things. This Saturday and Sunday, we have Stuff the Bus at Safeway on Cedar, I believe. Also, very special, we have the Capitol Christmas tree going to stop at the mall on Friday afternoon, the only stop in Arizona, and that'll be over at the mall, so that's super exciting. Also, I just wanted to put it out there publicly, we all are very conscious of, the concerns that people have with food insecurities and stuff. I made a personal commitment to make this month, as I usually do, but maybe a little bit more intense this year, to have it a month of gratitude and Thanksgiving. I've already started doing stuff that I won't get into tonight, but a friend of mine has a ministry, and he goes and feeds the shelter a meal once a month, and this November, on the 19th, he's hoping to give the clients at the shelter a Thanksgiving meal. And so I've committed to making a turkey, mashed potatoes, stuffing, and gravy, but there's 150 plus that will be eating. So I wanted to spread the news if somebody feels like making an extra big container of mashed potatoes or some turkey and stuff, please get in touch with me, and I'll get you in touch with Bob. And let's see, I think that was it. Thank you.
Thank you. So last week, Vice Mayor and I, and for a bit in between her meetings, Councilmember House met with the leadership of Associated Students of NAU. It was a really nice meeting talking about how the city government and student government can work together. And a couple of things that came up, we talked about doing a community service day, which would be NAU and the city of Flagstaff. We also talked about coming to speak at their Senate meetings, and I think that that would extend to staff too. If staff had a topic that would be of interest to students, you could come with us. I just think that the strengthening the relationship and continuing to have a relationship with student government will go a long way in terms of the relationship between the city and the county, and the city and NAU, and I was very happy to be a part of it. And that is all I have. City Manager?
Mayor and Council, I do have an update. Just on the same lines with Councilmember Matthews, given the increased need in our community related to the federal shutdown and the SNAP benefits, we will be doing double volunteer hours for our staff to volunteer at the event, the Stuff the Bus event this weekend, as well as the Flagstaff Family Food Center and the distribution event at NAU on November 25th. And then also other events at the Flagstaff Family Food Center. So I wanted to pass that along. Other reminder is that it's NAU homecoming weekend this weekend, and as you know, that's a lot of people in town, and the event that is a non-event will also be happening, Tequila Sunrise as well. So just a reminder, it'll be a busy weekend in town. So thank you. Shannon, do you have anything? No? Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone. We are adjourned.